Hello, welcome to this DCS A-18C Supercarrier operation tutorial video. In this tutorial, we will cover Supercarrier taxi, takeoff, and landing. When you start up on the Supercarrier, you will notice two things that you do not see in ground operations. The first will be wheel chocks on your wheels, and the second will be your wings being folded. So to remove the wheel chocks, we will go ahead and open our communications menu, talk to the ground crew, politely ask them to remove our wheel chocks.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks. Copy. Wheel chocks are now
They will kindly oblige. And then we will turn our anti-skid switch to off. For carrier operations, you want the anti-skid switch in the off position. For land-based operations, you want it in the on position. Let's move over to the catapult, turn on our nose wheel steering. And as we're moving over, I'm going to open my communication menu, ground crew, and request launch. I'm going to line up to the best of my abilities along the center. He's going to start waving us in. Nice and easy. He's going to tell us to stop. And then tell us to unfold our wings. So we can use our keybind if we have it bound, or right click this knob over here, down to the spread position, mouse wheel forward to push that in. And now our wings are coming down. He's going to now tell us to put our launch bar down. So we'll come over to launch bar, extend. He's now going to tell us to move forward to lock up. We'll bring our engine percentages to about 85. We're now over, and he's telling us to stop, so we're back in idle. Now he's going to tell us to put our launch bar up. You can either manually put it up or leave it. It's going to come up automatically when you take off. At this point, we're going to get the go-ahead to go. So I'm going to open our communication menu, ground crew, salute. At this point, when we throttle up, we're going to go to full burner, and then we will be launched off of the carrier. I'm going to open up my control indicator. When we're going down the catapult, no stick inputs are needed. As soon as we leave the carrier deck, then we can take control. So I'm going to throttle up to full burner. Going to take control, gear up, flaps up. Now I'm going to fly out a little ways from the carrier and set up our TACAN to navigate back to it, and also our ILS instrument landing system to assist us in landing on the carrier deck. This information will generally be available in your briefing page. So let's go ahead and throw on some autopilots and open the briefing. We want the Lincoln, so it is TACAN 72 and ILS 12. TACAN, clear, 72 enter, ILS, clear, 12 enter. Now we can see our TACAN has updated to the carrier's position, and we can box TACAN like we did in the navigation tutorial, and we could also box ILS since we are utilizing that for naval operations. Going to start turning over right about now, and I'll show you how to come in for a nice, easy approach, something that you can do as you're learning. Probably go out about 10-15 miles and then fly in. Now that I'm further than 10 miles away, I'm going to open my communication menu, A-18C, select the carrier we want to land on, in this case the Lincoln, and tell them I am
Marshall
inbound.
103. Marking Mops 225. 414. Angels 2.5.
We're going to pay attention to
State
one
12.0.
specific number they're going to give us, and that is the BRC.
103.
So here we see the BRC is 297. That is what we're going to use for our course line.
2866. Case 1 recovery expected BRC 297. Report.
Alright, so now we know we're going to fly along this line, and we'll be just about good to land on the carrier, or at least get us close enough to utilize the instrument landing system. Alright, I'm going to turn into the line. I'll bring this scale down a little bit. There's the Stennis down there. Going to go ahead to prep to drop the fuel tank. If you're ever coming in and you feel like you're too heavy for a carrier landing, you can either jettison your stores utilizing the jettison methods, and you also have the ability to dump any fuel in your plane utilizing this dump switch. So if I flip that to on, you'll see I start dumping a lot of fuel. A neat little perk, you'll see our internal fuel tank is actually refilling off of our external center tank. The external center is now empty, so I will arm my plane and then jettison it. Alright, so I'm a little off the left of the line, so I'm going to come back. And I'm going to do some S-turns to bleed off some speed. At this point, I'm about 10 miles away, so I'm going to tell the carrier, see you at 10.
103. See you at 10.
You can utilize these radio messages to get a better idea of what's happening on the carrier deck.
103. State 10.
This will allow us to know if it is full, if it's being blocked, if we're clear to land. So as we come in, we're going to see this vertical line and eventually a horizontal line for our ILS instrument landing system. Our goal is to have the cross of the line lined up perfectly with our velocity vector. I will have a link in the description of the video to a real-world example of a Hornet pilot landing on a carrier utilizing the ILS system as an example. Alright, well, about 300 knots. I'm going to drop my gear and flaps, verify that my anti-skid is off, and then I will drop my hook. The same rules for landing apply here as with ground-based landings. Between 135 and 160 and you'll be alright. So this arrow will tell us about which way we need to turn. And we're going to end up finding the horizontal line and line it up with the vertical line for our velocity vector. There's the horizontal line, so we're good on that. As you're learning, the vertical line doesn't matter so much as the horizontal line does. If you fly the horizontal line, you will hit the wires. The vertical line tells you if you're going to be lined up left or right. Now, it's a good idea to not chase that line up. Rather, you want to let it fall into you. You'll see that in a very clear picture in the example video in the description. One final check. Hook, gear, flaps, and he's
Tower
good.
103. Overhead Angels 2. State 10.3.
I'll keep my velocity vector just about on the deck. You see I'm a little off to the left, so I'll come right. The arrow is telling us to move left. We now have a flows display. We can utilize that. We want it to stay in the center. The flows is telling you what you are doing. The ILS is telling you what you should be doing. So I'm above the line. I'm going to come down. You want this cross to line up in the center of your velocity vector. This is extremely useful for landings where you can't see anything. Nighttime, storm conditions, all that good stuff. Just go ahead and trust your instrument. As long as you're on that horizontal line, you'll hit the wire. So I'm going to force her down a bit. And I'm down. It's a good idea to throttle up to full mil power to take off. I didn't there because I was confident in the wire. So I caught. At this point, I'm going to hook up, flaps to half, and I'll utilize nose wheel steering high to turn off to the side. If you're flying with people, it's a good idea at this point to let them know that the deck is clear and they're good to come in for their landing. Go ahead, rearm, refuel, get back up in the air. But that covers it as far as Supercarrier operations. Thanks for watching.